Welcome to Tunachiki's Africa Secret Files. I am your host, The Blank, and this is the show where we uncover hidden truths concerning the African continent, where we try to reveal the perpetrators. In our 6th episode, we will be talking about how the United States, how China, how Europe, how Russia is constantly spying on Africa, African leaders, and also the African citizens. Right. So before we start with our episode, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It's the best way to tell YouTube this is a good video, and it will share it to more like-minded people like you. So let's start on our episode. On today's episode, we will be talking about the extent at which China, the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Russia is spying on Africa, both the citizens and both its leadership and its businessmen. Okay, so let's get to it. So in 2008, it was discovered that China had bugged the African Union headquarters building in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The building was a gift from China to the African Union, and it was completed in 2012. However, just a year later, in 2013, technicians discovered that the building's computer servers were secretly sending data to servers in Shanghai late at night. According to the reports, China had installed microphones in the walls and the desks and hidden cables under the floors of the buildings, enabling it to intercept and monitor all electronic communications within the African Union headquarters. The bugs were said to have been in operation for over 5 years before they were discovered. The discovery of the bugs was made by a team of African Union experts who were conducting a routine maintenance on the building's IT system. The team was assisted by experts from Algeria, which had also discovered similar Chinese espionage activities in their own country. So let's go step by step. Okay, so let's start with China's espionage activities in Africa. It's well known that the Chinese have always spied on Africa as early as possible. So here, China gave the African Union a free multi-billion-dollar building, but technically it wasn't free. They bought it with their information. So when talking about China, now when it comes to this espionage activities, it's more broadened because not just Chinese have been known to do this for all their major construction projects, but also these days, they also do this for things like the Huawei servers, the Huawei infrastructure that gives us things like 4G, 5G, their routers, their phones, right? Things like Huawei and ZTE are state-owned companies, and they all are obligated to give all the information they have to the Chinese government at will, right? It's usually not a choice, even if they don't want to give out the information that they have on Africans. When the government in China demands that information, it will give them everything they need, okay? So let's continue. You might think it's just the Chinese guys are the bad guys. So let's see how worse the Europeans and the Americans are. So furthermore, almost all Africans, heads of state and businesses have been spied on by the British and the American intelligence services. According to the data released by Edward Snowden, the former consultant of the United States National Security Agency, Washington and London have placed the African continent and its telecommunication under massive surveillance. Among the victims of the espionage includes heads of states, heads of government, opposition leaders, rebels, and other businessmen. At least 20 African countries were under surveillance by the British intelligence satellites between 2008 and 2011. According to these documents, the non-exclusive list includes the DRC, Angola, Togo, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Ghana, and Nigeria. Mobile phone groups operating in Africa have also not been spared, according to Snowden caches. So, all of you know about Edward Snowden, right? He's this NSA agent who took information from the NSA and went to Russia and is currently releasing it, right? So there are two problems with that, right? It's now that all the information that Edward Snowden took from the United States and took to Russia, Russia also has it, right? So even if the Americans had information, piles of information on African leaders, African businessmen, African secrets, all those information just have gone to Russia, right? It's not like he did a good thing selling one information, taking the information from the United States and taking it to Russia. Right? It's just different faces of the same coin, right? Russia knowing all the information, the United States knowing all the information. Same difference, right? So Snowden took this information and it revealed all the extent to which the Americans, together with their puppets, the United Kingdom, was spying on African leaders, right? So now this is where it even gets extremely worrying, right? They spy on everybody. It's not just that if you're important or anything. If you're a threat, right? If you're an activist, if you're an opposition leader, if you're in government, if you're a businessman, you're a target, okay? So let's continue because it gets way, way worse. In 2011, WikiLeaks had released sensitive data revealing the extent of the global surveillance and interception industry, which included South African company Visat Tech. According to the report, the intelligent companies in the United Kingdom, the United States, South Africa, and China were making billions of dollars selling sophisticated tracking and surveillance tools. The devices produced by the British, French, South Africans, and Chinese corporations were used by African regimes to spy on their citizens on behalf of their sponsors. Now, this is where it gets extremely worrying because you'd think this spying agencies, it's always an external threat to Africa, but no, it's a Trojan threat too, right? This South African company and other Chinese companies I mentioned, like ZTE, like Huawei, are making a business, making billions, selling these tools, selling this information to regimes, right? And these regimes don't just spy on us citizens, us Africans, just for fun. No, there's an interest, right? We live in the information age, and information is power. The more information you have, the more powerful you have. These days, dangers are not nuclear weapons, are not guns, are not money. No, the danger is information. Information, propaganda. That's why Western media is more a threat than military powers, because if you control the narrative, right, you control the masses, you control the information, you control the people, right? Yeah, like it's called soft power, and it's the most ultimate power because you don't force anybody to do anything, you just manipulate them through the information that you know about them. That's why this is risky. I know this world is dark, and most people, black hatters, espionage, spies, secret agents, they don't have the same rules as white hackers do, right? Their job is to exploit these vulnerabilities. Their job is to use these backdoors. And I've got a lot of hacking experience, knowing that if one person is caught, one backdoor is closed, there are redundancies, right? There are a good example, the Chinese planting the listening devices in the African Union, and they were found. I can guarantee you that was not the only method they used to get the information. Even till now, you can still find they're still getting all the information they need from the African Union, right? These espionage groups, these people who spy on you, do not just spend all this money to have one way of stealing information from you. No, there are redundancies. If it's 2 more, even you can get 10. So even if they found the physical hidden devices, there are still more, right? In all embassies, all American embassies, all British consulates, these things are happening, right? So, and for me, I'm telling you this from experience, that all these Western governments, all these the Chinese government, the Russian government, know more about you than your wife, know more about you than your husband, know more about you than your mother, than your father, than your parents. Even sometimes they know more about you than yourself. And this is a fact. It's not a conspiracy. I'm not telling you this to scare you, that they're coming for you. No, they actually know everything about you, and that's why they're not coming for you, because they know everything about you. Because if you are a threat to them, even one bit, yeah, you'd be finished, gone case, no negotiation, they'll just disappear. Yeah. So thank you for listening, and I hope you people with your fancy Chinese phones, with your fancy iPhones, with your fancy Samsungs, you just know everything is compromised, nothing is secret. They all know everything about you, and the only reason they're not coming for you is that you are not a threat to them. So It's either you continue selling information, being a threat, being a good puppet, being a good slave, right? And not threatening them, not giving them a reason to follow you, or you wake up and first of all, know what's going on, right? Because as I said, knowledge is power. And the best way to start fighting back is that know all this information, to know all your information is compromised. So today we have a dilemma, right? How does Africa fight back, right? The obvious option is that we should have our own internal espionage activities to these countries, tit for tat, right? There's no reason why an African country cannot do the same to the United States, to Russia, to China. I know it costs a lot of money, sophistication, technology, but that's not beyond Africa. We can easily do it. Another way is also for Africa to use our own equipment, right? Most of our equipment we use for our internet infrastructure. It's usually Siemens, a German company, Huawei, a Chinese company, right? All these external companies. Africa needs to start developing these connection devices internally. And also the third step is knowledge. All of you guys know these things that you're using do not belong to you, does not belong to Africa, and it comes with a cost, and the cost is your information, okay? So with that said, I know my advice is not very practical this time, but it's the best we could do. What can I tell you? And as a white hat hacker, just know they know everything. Okay, so with that said, thank you for joining our 6th episode of Africa Secret Files, and make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this video to friends and family. A big appreciation to our Patreons, our channel members. We love you guys. We've got some new goodies for you guys, emojis, nice custom art. Yeah, so with that said, it's been me, the Blank, from Tunacheki, and always remember, Africa is watching.